sign up for public comment. There are some forms right there on the podium as you enter the door. Anyone that wants to sign up for public comments on the agenda item. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
A motion is secondly made to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Any public comments on the agenda item at this point? I want to recognize Mr. Franklin.
Sir. I'm going to try to sit behind this podium, but I'm not very good at standing in one place and reading. Thank you again, Mr. Joe, for letting me speak tonight. I'm going to read my letter, so I don't chase a lot of rabbits. We've got copies, or I've got copies of what I'm getting ready to read. So if you want copies after the meeting, I will save the entire meeting, and also to answer any questions from the press and anyone else that wants to talk to me. So, okay, here we go. On November 16th, 2019, I was elected by the voters of District 3 to serve as their representative of Lincoln Parish Police Jury. That literal vote of confidence is one of the greatest honors of my life. But I have not yet been sworn in to that elected position. People asking why. They want to know why is the delay, what's going on, what's my status. Please let me explain. I have served my state and country for the past 3 decades in the Louisiana Army National Guard. I'm not an active duty soldier, but I am a federal employee. When I first felt the desire to serve the community and running for the seat of police jury, I did all my research. I discovered that by law, federal employees are allowed to run for political office in nonpartisan elections. I promptly contacted the Lincoln Parish Clerk of Court's office. I then asked him, are police jury races considered partisan or nonpartisan elections? I was told that such elections are deemed nonpartisan. Based on that information, I began my campaign. Just prior to the runoff election, my supervisor with the National Guard contacted me and asked for a written confirmation that this particular race was indeed nonpartisan. The Clerk of Court's office promptly provided me with such a letter. Soon after that, I was told that I needed to make an official inquiry to the federal government. I was instructed to contact the Office of Special Counsel for a confirmation that the race was indeed nonpartisan. Only after I had won the election that I got a notification from the Office of Special Counsel that informed me that they considered the police jury election partisan. Here's the reason they gave me. In Louisiana political parties appear on the ballot after each candidate's name. It didn't matter that all 3 candidates in the district race belonged to the same party. It did not matter that the police jury candidates never publicized any political party affiliation during the campaign. But because Louisiana puts political party affiliations on the ballot, on local elections, the federal Office of Special Counsel considers the races to be partisan. And because of that, it was ruled that I could not accept the position at which I was elected unless I was no longer a federal employee. I want to make sure that everyone hears that there is no blame to this situation. I do not blame the Clerk of Court. I do not blame the Louisiana National Guard, nor do I blame the Office of Special Counsel. It is simply that local and state officials determined that this race was nonpartisan and is overridden by the federal government, who deemed it to be partisan. Now for the rest of the story. As these events were transpiring, the Louisiana National Guard was already processing my discharge. When I received the final ruling from the Office of Special Counsel, I asked that the discharge be expedited. that my discharge package is now at the federal level and in the very final stages of being complete. As soon as I am discharged from the Louisiana National Guard, I will retire from my federal job, so I can be sworn into the office at which I was elected. If District 3 seat is ruled vacant before my paperwork has been completed, the police jury must appoint someone. The Office of Special Counsel has confirmed that I can be appointed to that position. For the record, even though I haven't been sworn in, I have been handling concerns of the residents of District 3. I have served my country and state for the last 32 years. Actually, yesterday was my 32nd anniversary. And now I simply want to serve my local community. If God will let me serve in this way, it will all work out. My constituents, fellow jurors, and friends have all been extremely supportive during this unusual and unfortunate situation. I thank all of you for your patience and your kindness. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frank stated if you want to talk to him after the meeting, he'll be glad to meet with you and talk with you. And we're going to run this thing out according to state laws and statutes, what we have to do. And when we'll hear more about that down the road when time comes. Thank you again, Mr. Frank.
Thank you, sir.
State Representative Chris Turner. Comment in the house. We just want to recognize you. Thank you for being with us.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. Minutes of prior meeting, item number 5.
I have moved that we accept the minutes of our prior meeting on January 21st, 2020.
Second.
A motion is second that we accept the minutes of the prior meeting from the January 21st, 2020 meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Item number 6, appointment, Mr. Hall.
Okay, the first one we have is the Lincoln Parish Fire Protection District, 2-year term Ward 2 nominee, Mr. Julius Sumler. Is he here
He's
tonight?
here.
Yeah, if you would like to stand a moment and, anything you'd like to say? You've been on serving on there for
I'm just proud to have an opportunity to work it out of Love Parish.
A motion is second appoint Mr. Julius Summer to the term of the Fire Protection District for 2 terms.
So moved. Second.
You gotta come in a second.
No, I was going to make the motion, but that's okay.
He's in your district.
Yeah,
We're gonna put it down there. A motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Item B.
Okay, next item, Lincoln Parish Communications District. These are 4-year terms. The way the Communications District is structured, there are other entities that recommend nominees to be appointed to that just by virtue of their office. And so this is kind of a formality that has to be done. The first one representing the Lincoln Parish Sheriff's Office is Mr. Mike Rainwater. Is he here? He's served multiple terms on the Communications District.
Teresa Marks in my district if you want to. Second.
Motion is second, which take Mr. Michael Rainwater, Lincoln Parish Sheriff Office represented on the Communication District. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Okay, next one is Chief Chris Womack with the Ruston Fire Department representative. Right over here.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve him to serve on GIS.
Second.
Motion is second.
Communication.
Communication.
Communications.
The West Point Chief Chris Womack, Ruston Fire Department representative. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Okay, I'm not sure about this next one. Deputy Chief Clint Williams representing the Ruston Police Department.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he's
a
here.
tough one.
That's what I hear.
What's your pleasure?
I make the motion.
Motion is second that we appoint Chief Deputy Clint Williams representing the Ruston Police Department. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Thank you.
Next one is, this is representing the Office of Emergency Preparedness, be our Homeland Security Director, Kip Franklin.
I make a motion, we appoint Mr. Kip Franklin.
A second.
A motion is second that we appoint Mr. Kip Franklin representing the Office of Emergency Preparedness for the Communication District. All in favor, say aye. All opposed. Item C, Mr. Hall.
Okay, we have several boards and commissions we need to make appointments to. It's been determined that we would use the nomination process to go through this. And so we have two nominees that need to come from the police jury.
President, let me see. I have a problem with C through 1 where we'll be voting.
C through I.
C through I. Where we'll be voting, who will have these positions. I feel like in the past that we had been, each one of these positions had been assigned and not voted on. So, if we're gonna go by tradition or are we trying to do a different policy?
Well, have they always been appointed?
They've always been recommended for appointment, but there's always been a vote taken to officially put them on.
Look, we voted on the position.
We have in the past. We voted.
And I think there was a sheet in your packet which said some names that people indicated. We have put them on the agenda before.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but we still had to take a vote.
We still had to vote on it. Go ahead, Ms. McVeigh.
No, I'm saying that we never had these put on the agenda. We've always been, we have put them here, and it's never been voted. You have always assigned it, and then we know if we didn't want that position, we would say it. But it was assigned.
Do we move forward?
She's just expressing that,
Okay.
it's up to you.
Okay. Do anyone else have, that concern on voting on them or signing? Mr. Russell?
As I recall, and I'm elderly, as I recall, they were recommended based on requests as we have made. And then that was brought to the jury, and then the jury approved them or disproved them.
Right.
So in fact, we have always voted on them.
But we have not had a number of people that we had to vote on. That's what I'm saying.
I think we have.
Okay, all right.
Now, that's what I think.
Okay, okay.
I'm not arguing.
All right,
I'm just telling you what I think, that we have always, year after year, voted to
I think you're
approve.
both kind of right, both kind of wrong. I think the last time we did it, I've got an agenda coming here right now, is we had, let's just take it, keep Lincoln Parish Beautiful would be on the agenda. Two appointees, and it would say, Ms. Sharon Mayfield, and Mr. Skip Russell, nominees.
But
And
you
so
just
somebody
had-
would make a motion to appoint those two people to that board. And then we'd move to the next one. And there'd be you're right, there'd be a name recommended to go there. So, but they weren't voted on.
Okay, what I'm saying is that you put it down, and then we bring it to the meeting, and that's when we vote. But right now, you don't have anyone down as that. No, we have the people that we got to vote on, but they didn't make the recommendation of those 1, 2 people. It's just,
I know what you're saying. We come to the meeting with names already in their spot.
Yes.
And then we voted on them with that
But
in
we are
that spot.
voting on several persons, on these lists, on some of the.
Right.
So we
Based on
don't,
it.
so we are basically going to vote against each other.
Well, I don't think they gonna look at it like that.
Okay.
Ms. Wyatt.
I have a suggestion, looking at this. Let's go to number 2, where it says, Ruston Lincoln Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau, 1 police jury representative. Mr. Cranford applied for that, so we don't have to vote, right?
Yes, we did.
We still have to vote.
Yeah,
We have to
just
approve them.
vote.
Someone would nominate, right, and then we would close the nomination.
So what happens if we get down to number 4 and Mr. Cranford wins, gets the vote there? So does that mean he has 2 spots inside? But if we voted, no, I'm just saying, I'm not misunderstanding what you said.
Yes, you're correct.
I thought I was. To me, what it would mean would be, and it doesn't matter to me. I'm just saying whatever the, you
Mr.
understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I know what you're saying.
Okay, it's possible, okay, since Mr. Cranford is already on 2, then just scratch him off on 4, and, ooh, I saw his name somewhere else.
Right, you scratching me off too.
Scratch him on 2. Yeah, scratch, does that make sense, Mr. Cranford?
Take me off too, put somebody
Take,
else.
no,
Nominate somebody
then we
else
won't
for
have to
the
vote,
That's what
you
you're
already
saying.
made it.
I see what you're saying, Mr. Russell. Did you have your hand?
I was saying that there's a gentleman over there that wanted to speak. I don't know if the time is appropriate.
Go ahead, Ms. White.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ms. White.
Mr. President, like on number 3, the nominees or whatever are Mr. Russell, Mr. Franks, Mr. Cranford, and Mr. Scriber.
Yes.
Scratch Mr. Russell off because he's already on
6.
Lincoln Parish Sales and Use Tax.
I see what you're trying to do, trying to make it even where everybody.
Yeah, where everybody gets a
Yes.
chance.
Okay.
Mr. Franks, not Mr. Franks, scratch Cranford off again. And Mr. Scriber,
She's making a good,
Mr. Scriber, scratch him off because he's the only one on Trailblazer, so he automatically gets that spot.
That's right.
That's
Talking
just,
my language now.
that's just a
all right, so let's,
recommendation.
Trailblazer had one interested person, Mr. Scriber.
I
All
would
in
like to make
favor
a
of
motion
Mr.
that we
Thank you,
appoint
I
Mr.
Mr.
second.
Scriber.
Yes.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Trailblazer, Mr. Scriber. Come on, Ms. White.
Who, me?
Yes, ma'am, who next?
All right, Lincoln Parish Sales and Use Tax Commission, 2 police jury representatives, Russell and Estrada. That's it. We don't have to vote. We just
Well, we
vote
gotta
on the
vote
2.
on it.
Vote on the 2.
I'm sorry.
Mr. President, I'd
Yes.
like to make a motion to appoint, Mr. Russell and Ms. Strawder to the Sales and Use Tax Commission.
Second that motion.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Number 5, Lincoln Parish GIS District, 1 police juror, Mr. Hunt.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second that we appoint Mr. Hunt, Lincoln Parish GIS District. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We working together, that's right.
I'd like to comment on number 4.
All right.
No.
I'd like to remove myself from number 2.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying.
Way to go.
Now, it's Ms. Mayfield and Mr. Pullin.
Now we got to vote, and that's,
And I see what Ms. Mayfield saying,
yeah,
where we at now, with number 4.
right. It's just 1 police juror, so now we got to choose between Mrs. Mayfield and Mr. Pullen.
I'd
But
like
no
to make a
one,
motion.
but no one should think that they're voting against if you didn't get the vote. It's just something we have to do.
I'd like to make a motion that Mr. Pulley be appointed.
Quick.
Bill?
Yes, I would just like to point out that there are 4 women on this jury, and there's none represented on the Lincoln Parish Detention Center Commission. So why would we have to worry about voting and let the women be recognized, I guess come in and lead a revolt or something if we're gonna overlook the women?
I don't think representing the detention center has nothing to do with the gender. I sat on the commission for the detention center, and no one ever viewed me as a female, but respected me for my intelligence and my vote for that. And Sharon, I respect you. I think you do a great job, as well as Matt. I do not think it has anything to do with gender.
I think the
Okay.
jury is
All right. Lincoln Parish Detention Center Commission. It's two-person interested. What's your pleasure?
I make a motion that Mr. Pullen serve on that commission.
All right. And I make, Ms. White.
I make a motion that what's your name? Certify that commission.
All right. All in favor of the first nominee? Do we get a second? Need a second. Mr. Russell.
Yeah, need a second.
I'll second Mr. Russell's nomination, Mr. Fuller.
Okay. No, we fine. And we need a nomination, a second for Ms. Mayfield.
Second.
Motion second on each of them. Mr. Pullen was the first nominee. All in favor of Mr. Pullen being on the Lincoln Parish Detention Center, I need you to raise your hand till you count it.
This doesn't look good, but
It's good. It's all well. We're not gonna make it bad. I mean, you get. All right. All in favor of Ms. Mayfield? How many? We got 6.
Okay, that's true.
Ms. Mayfield, the Lincoln Parish Detention Center. Who we got, number 3?
My hand up, and that motion was made.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith. Everyone?
Am I to understand now that this jury does not recognize gender?
Mr. President, we have to take public comments at this time.
That's right.
My hand is up during the motion,
All right.
and you can't pass it until you talk to me.
Well, Mr. Smith?
No, you can't.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Okay, I recognize you.
All right.
But we don't-
My question is now that this jury does not recognize gender.
We take the comment, but we don't have to respond.
I understand.
All right.
That's
I don't-
so
I don't
when
know.
get it out there.
Number 3, we have
E.
okay,
Mr.
number 3.
Cranford and Mr. Scriber.
Well, we don't have Mr. Crawford took himself off. And Mr. Franks can't be appointed.
Well, we find, so item number 3, who we have?
Russell and Scribe.
Russell and Scriber, we have 2 representatives. All in favor of those 2 who left?
We
You need a
we
motion.
need to,
Yeah, we waiting on motion.
okay, Mr. Scriber is already, we basically, I don't know whether he wants
No,
to.
I remove my name from consideration on that. Make sense.
All right, so now left is Mr. Russell.
Mr. Cramp, do you want to be put back on?
I'll go for number 3.
All right, we have Mr. Russell and Mr. Crampton, am I correct?
Yes.
All right, someone make the nomination for those 2? Motion of Mr. Russell and Mr. Cranford, North Louisiana Exposition Center. All in favor, say aye. All opposed. So those are filled. Who's left?
CBB.
I'll take 2. Since he's removed from that. Removed from number 2.
Okay.
I'll put my name in there.
So moved.
Second.
Now, that's what you call working.
Motion is second. All in favor, say aye. All right.
Mr. Melton, would you consider doing number 1?
No, I'm fine. I have to mention that.
Okay.
All right. Need 2, Lincoln Parish. Bill. You would? All right. Ms. Scrawler, since she elect 2, we need 1 other one. Ms. Hunter. All right. Ms. Hunter and Ms. Scrawler.
She said, she's trying to say she
Yes.
wants to do it.
Do you have to, I've been on there for 4 years.
And do a great job.
What about that?
I make a
You're
motion
fine.
that we
If
approve
you want
these
to be on there
two
with Ms.
presidents.
Scrawler, that's fine.
I make a motion we approve these individuals.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
Motion is second. Ms. Hunter and Ms. Scrawler, all in favor, say aye.
Exactly.
Put that on.
What about the library board, Mrs. President?
The library board is a little different.
Yeah,
The
they-
president serves, and he appoints somebody to serve in his stead, so it's ours.
Oh.
Doesn't have to be approved by the jury.
And I'll pick somebody. All right, thank you all for that. Are we at number 7 now, Mr. Vice President?
Yes, sir.
Item number 7, Mr. Hall. And
Okay.
thank you all for that participation.
Can I?
Question?
It's not a question, just a comment real quick. I just wanted to make sure y'all were aware that y'all went through this whole thing about trying to not let anybody double up, and you still have 2 people on 2 commissions.
Yes,
Just,
we
just letting that. Okay.
All right.
Getting that over.
All right. Number 7, Mr. Hall.
Okay, this is a resolution that has to be done annually. Basically, what it is referring to, we receive federal funding sometimes to do bridge replacements and other projects. If anybody has to be displaced, if we have to expropriate property, we have to reassure that we will follow the applicable law, the federal law, as far as provisions that are made to recompensate or make whoever we're displacing whole. We haven't had to do that, but we just annually have to pass this thing. We need a motion and a second to pass the resolution.
We need a motion and second to pass the resolution. Motion? Need a second. Motion and second that we pass this resolution. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay, next is a resolution authorizing the Union Lincoln Regional Water Supply Initiative to transfer funds to the Sparta Groundwater Conservation District. I think that you had a copy of the resolution in your packet along with some background information on the Sparta Groundwater Commission and the reason that they need some money for a matching grant. The grant will be $400,000 for 20% match of $100,000. All this came about by virtue of the fact that there is funding available in the Union Lincoln Regional Water Supply Initiative, and since that project is currently kind of on hold, the Sparta Commission has come up with an alternate study that will benefit not only Lincoln and Union Parish, but all other 14 parishes that utilize the Sparta aquifer. With this database and this model that will be produced by this Lindsay, who is the executive director of the Sparta Commission, is here. Would you like to say anything about that?
I would be happy to answer any questions. Mr. Russell is, of course, the representative on the initiative, and I would also defer questions to Mr. Russell from the initiative's perspective.
We unanimously voted to support this transfer of funds. We think it's a very, very important step forward.
Can we have a motion and a second that we transfer these funds to the Sparta Groundwater Conservation District?
I so move.
A motion and a second. Questions? We ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Mr. Hall, number C.
Okay, next is another resolution urging the Department of Transportation and Development to take action to provide greater safety and minimize traffic accidents at the intersection of Louisiana Highway 818, West Barnett Springs, and Fletcher Lane. That is a kind of a discombobulated intersection with the increased traffic that is coming through Lincoln Parish, especially in this area. It's beginning to create a problem. There's been multiple near accidents and some accidents. Luckily, I don't think there's been any fatalities.
No fatalities.
At that particular, but some serious accidents there. And so this is generally the process you use to get DOTD's attention, and so that they will, take action to study the problem and offer solutions to correct it. We'll also send this to our legislative delegation for their review and assistance that they can provide to us in this regard.
Once Tarbutton is open, that traffic flow from Tarbutton is just gonna increase onto that 818 coming into that area.
Yeah, very close.
Very close.
All right. Can we have a motion and a second to present this to Louisiana Department
So
of Transportation?
moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. We ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Item D.
Okay, this resolution pretty much covers a lot of documents that the health agency is required to sign and submit regarding policies. You see them, they're kind of spelled out there in the resolution. I won't identify each one, but this gives broad authority for the president to sign these documents on behalf of the health agency.
Anyone have any questions on that?
Will this require just one of their signatures or both on all?
The president.
President's signature.
Okay, gotcha.
Do we have a motion and a second?
I make that motion.
A motion and a second that we get authority, the president to execute these documents and have the help agencies. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Item E.
Okay, the next resolution specifically gives authority to the health directors, to Ronnie Dowling and Holly Lowry, our temporary treasurer, to sign contracts and amendments to these contracts on behalf of the health agency, the ministry, and the Louisiana Housing Corporation. This just merely is a function of having to redo a resolution because of the change in directors.
We have a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second.
The agenda just says Ronnie Dowling. Are you asking for Holly Lowry?
Okay, she's in the resolution. So,
That's not on the agenda.
So we just need to run it down.
Ronnie,
Is that what you're saying?
Comes on the agenda, it's on my agenda. It doesn't mention Holly.
do what now?
The last resolution that was passed was
Yeah, right. If it's not on the agenda, then we can't act on it, we can't adopt it unless you vote to amend the resolution, but we can't pass that too, no? I think what would be our solution?
it's on the agenda. We could amend it.
I think you can amend the agenda.
No, we could amend the motion.
Yeah, it's pretty time sensitive. Let's adopt it like it is on the agenda. We can get by with that. Holly was kind of a backup.
Right.
So, this will just give Ronnie authority to sign that.
Let's do it according to the agenda, authorizing Ronnie Dowling only at this point. Any questions? Will someone restate the motion, please?
I'll make the motion that we, adopt a resolution authorizing Ronnie Dowling, health director, to sign contracts, amendments, and review claims with Louisiana Housing Corporation.
I second the motion.
A motion and a second. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, council. Item number 8. Mr. Hall.
Okay, this is a adjudicated property that's being sold through what's called the lot next door process. It does not have to go to public bid. There are some statutes that allow you, if you have adjudicated property next door to you, and you can indicate that you have maintained that property to some extent through the years, then you can apply to possess that property through the lot next door program. And so all you have to do is basically pay the taxes owed on the property. It doesn't have to go, public notice, public bid. Just do the transaction. So this is authority to introduce that ordinance, and we'll have to adopt it next month.
Get the next week.
Yes, sir.
Where's the property located?
It's on Jessamine. It's in Miss Maples Street.
Location?
Jessamine and Hodges. It's kind of right off of California, right north of California.
Yeah.
It's like Jessamine, Hall, Hodges area, Dubuque Avenue. That neighborhood.
A motion and a second to introduce the ordinance at the next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Item number 9, Ms. Laura.
I don't have a lot on the budget to actual report this month. January always looks a little funky, for lack of a better word. That's a technical accounting term that means it doesn't flow through to the other months. Do you remember we talked before about how the police bureau uses a modified cash accrual basis of accounting? So in December, there are revenue items accrued into 2019 that would normally fall in January based upon the cash receipt. So that's where the accrual piece comes in. So you would notice that most, if you look at Fund 9, which is the solid waste collection fund, where you see the container renters are only $1,980, that's on page 11 of your budget actual report. The reason it so low is because the $1,980 that was collected in January for 2020 rentals, but the amounts that normally get collected in a month were pushed back to December. So it kind of skews your first month and your last month when you do this modified basis of accrual. Salaries and wages, if you look at most of those, in the funds, they don't look like there are 12 of the annual budget, and that's because pay periods, there's 26 in a year, and there were 3 of them that fell in January. So it's on track, nobody's over budget on that front. In the general fund on page 1, the reimbursement for wages of $15,000 that you see there, that is the administrative fees that are paid by the fire district, the library, and communications for the support that the administrative office gives them. If you look under legislative, the $935 under advertising dues and subscriptions were paid to NACO, and the $3,482 of travel had to do with the reimbursements for the New Jersey state meeting that they went to, and $2,700 that was paid for the convention registration for the convention this week. Go on down to page 4. You see sales and use tax office that has dollars in the current year actual with a budget of 0. Those are expenses that were paid for salaries and benefits associated with the sales and use tax office that we get reimbursed for in the following month. And so those will be paid and those go away, and you can see that just the monthly charge every month until December when we accrue that payment back. From a severance tax perspective, that's back on page 1. We are still in the hole, surprisingly enough. The deficit that was $20+ million is now $12 million. I'm still estimating that it will be 2021 before we start to see any severance tax on the oil and gas side, unless there's something that changes in the way that the law is currently agreed. But we do monitor that every month, and we do continue to receive the timber tax.
Quick question with regard to that. That one company filed and collected, but couldn't there be others?
There could be any number of, yes.
It could really get out of hand.
Well, you have to have my understanding, and I'm not a severance tax expert, and I'm by no means an oil and gas expert. My understanding is you have to have the horizontal well approved by the Department of Natural Resources as a well that is subject to the severance tax relief program. And if they have that designation, they can apply for severance tax omitted returns if they've paid tax that they shouldn't have, or not pay tax if they meet the criteria.
Okay.
Details about who and what, that's taxpayer information, which is all confidential. We are able to monitor the total collections by the state of severance tax by parish. There's a report on their website that we can get that information, but it does not detail who is remitting such taxes.
Have we had any additional requests by any additional companies?
If you look back at the history of severance tax collections, there have periodically been months and or quarters when there have been a negative collection by the state, indicating somebody filed some sort of a refund request or an amended return, creating that credit. But because the severance taxes are capped at just over $1 million, we've always received the cap anyway. It was the magnitude of the amended returns that were filed in 2019 that created this negative tax position. Does that help?
Can I make just one point?
Yes,
to address your question, I don't think we have any additional liability from other companies out there. Just statistically speaking, the operator that filed the amended returns had the bulk of the horizontal wells, and there's more of a return issues. I don't think we have any additional liability there.
Good, because that could be devastating to the operation of the police.
The special road fund on page 5 has a credit in the maintenance of equipment. Our highway department does work to repair vehicles and equipment for other departments. So like for the solid waste department or the collection fund. The materials and the invoices that are for third-party charges like Walk World Tire or Caterpillar or whoever are charged to the special road fund and then credited out of there to the other department as part of the monthly process for billing. This credit is a timing difference between the receipt of the invoice and processing the invoice for the services versus the processing of the actual entry to move the cost. So we have the bill, the highway department knows that it cost X amount of money, but we haven't actually paid it yet. So it's handled on the work orders. That's why it looks kind of funny. And if anybody has any other questions, I will be happy to answer them. But right now, I don't have any other comments.
Any questions, the holiday report? Item number 10, Public Works, Mr. Clerk.
Public Works met at 5 o'clock this evening to consider to take action necessary on preliminary subdivision plats for Piney Hills Estates, Unit 2, Country Oaks Estates, Chandler Place, and the re-subdivision of Moss Points, all passed. They also met to declare items as surplus property and authorize advertising for bid for items, basically sell. All items passed. Next item on the agenda was authorized actions for equipment acquisitions. An asphalt distributor truck was on a piggyback purchase with Washita Parish. Passed. 2 pickups passed and 2 John Deere utility tractors passed. We also authorized engineering agreements for capital outlay projects. That's it.
Do we have a motion and a second? The committee report from Public Works. A motion and second that we approve Public Works Committee report. All in favor, say aye. Item B, Public Property, Ms. White.
The Public Property and Buildings Committee met today at 5:30. The members of that committee are T.J. Cranford, Logan Hunt, Glenn Scriber, and Skip Russell. The discussion, the agenda was approved. We had a discussion and planning for future use of the police jury complex. This was just a discussion for future planning. We did, however, take action to authorize Courtney to do a roof replacement for the police jury complex number 2. I present this in the form of a motion.
Second.
A motion and second, discussion. Everyone understand what we, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Item C, Ms. Hunter.
The Personnel and Benefit Committee met this evening at 6 o'clock. We worked on Waterworks number 1. We appointed Mr. Ronnie Rodriguez to refill the position of Mr. Harris. And he's gonna go through March the 13th, 1922. We met and worked on recommendation of Ward 1 Waterwork District to appoint Mr. Don Hogan for 5 years. And our meeting lasts for 5 minutes. And I present this as a motion. Second.
A motion and second that we accept Personnel and Benefits Committee report. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Item D, solid waste, Mr. Cranford.
At 6:15, the Lincoln Parish Police Jury Solid Waste Recycling Committee met to take consideration and action if necessary on the C&D adjustment rate we adjusted it from $21 to $29 per ton. We also took action to refuse container adjustment on Water Tank Road. That passed as well. And we declared surplus item property and authorized advertised bids for 4 pieces of equipment. That passed as well. I present this as a motion.
Second. Motion and second that we accept solid waste and recycling committee report. Questions before we vote? Comment? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Item number 11, Mr.
Okay, travel, the only travel we have, we don't have anything approved, it's already been approved, is the state convention that's gonna be held in Shreveport this week, starting tomorrow through Friday. So everybody that had signed up is going to attend, I think has all the information they need to attend to that. That's all the travel I have, sir. Under reports, I wanna get either Lindsay or Kevin to tell us a little bit about the retreat that went on this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. On Saturday, we had a very exciting event. I heard y'all earlier in the committee talking about still some of the tornado damage. We have been working on a project with the Keep Lincoln Parish Beautiful organization, being at the center with the Community Foundation, Lincoln Parish Community Foundation, work together to bring an organization by the name of Retreat, based out of Texas, and their whole mission is to come into areas where natural disasters have struck, fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, and try to help rebuild the canopy that is often lost in those natural disasters. So this last Saturday, we planted, what was the total number? Did we get? 170 trees across 60 private properties was our focus at this time, personal residences. We broke up into 11 different teams, went across mainly in the city. I don't think anybody went into the parish, but it was, we did have one out.
There was one on Lee Road for sure.
Okay.
Baxter, and there might have been Timber Ridge as well.
Okay,
So
okay. Okay. And this was a beautiful effort. This was door to door, this was hands-on, this was able to talk to the residents and starting to rebuild that process. We will have one other planning with the help of the Community Foundation and Keep Louisiana, Keep Lincoln Parish Beautiful and Keep America Beautiful. We were able to bring in enough funds to do at least 2 plantings, and that will probably take place later in the fall. And we are also looking at ways to incorporate some cleanup, possibly with the Great American Cleanup coming in April through Keep Lincoln Parish Beautiful. But it was a great event. Anybody who is a part of this, thank you for coming out. And anybody in your districts, remind them to water the trees. Maybe not today. Maybe not today, in a couple of weeks. But it definitely will be beautiful and will be something we'll be able to see grow. No pine trees were planted. It was mainly larger canopies and, you know, something to help bring back that beauty. So, thank you.
Do an 811 call for the day.
Don't forget about the census. Starts next month.
So you had a
packet, somebody in your packet about important dates
on the census,
so just read it.
As far as the police jury goes and other information regarding the tornado, the projects that we're working on with FEMA for the police jury, we've already received reimbursement for our generators that were used during that time frame, and then for emergency protective measures and such. And then we just got a processed payment notification yesterday, I believe it was, that the deductible for the police jury's insurance on the complex and the library, the temporary roof repairs that were done there, that's been processed and we should be receiving that money. But the largest project yet to remain is gonna be debris. It's the biggest, one of the hardest ones to deal with. I said this 100 times, the F in FEMA don't stand for fast, so we're gonna be a while on that one. But as far as the current weather we're seeing, we do have a flash flood watch still in effect for tomorrow night at 6, and we hope our parish crews don't get called out. Some of them got called out last night for a couple of roads that went underwater and some trees down. But we are expecting another 2 to 4 inches possible over the next 24 hours, so.
Just talk a little bit what Kip said. We do have a few roads that are underwater right now, so just everybody needs to be careful when they're traveling at night. And if the signs are out, and we see the signs, you need to turn around.
Just say that we're wet as well out at the park, and hopefully that we'll dry out by next weekend.
Definitely.
For the Mardi Gras 5K that'll be at the park. Invite everybody to come out for that.
Where Woodbridge?
That's all of it.
We do have some
Correspondence.
This could have probably gone over reports or correspondence, but don't forget, as a newly elected official, even if you were an incumbent who got reelected, you need to get within 90 days, get your ethics trained. So that's going to be available to some of you Thursday if they go to the state meeting. The rest of you will need to either go online or contact Connie Lacey here in our office, and she can get you fixed up as far as that. You have 90 days, so that's the end of March. Another date coming up, May 15th. Your financial disclosure forms need to be filed. If we pass any of those out tonight, you may have had some in your packets. If not, we'll get them to you by next month. You do have till May 15th to get those filed.
There's a question on whether you file a tier 2 form or a tier 3 form. Most of you will file a tier 2 form because you have a voting district with a population less than 5,000, that's a tier 3. If you serve on a commission, such as the Sales Tax Commission, where the voting population is greater than 5,000, you have to file a tier 2 form. If you have any questions about that, there's a frequently asked questions guide on the state website, or you can give me a call and I'll try to see if I can help you answer.
Deadline for that again is?
May
15th. And incumbents need to file, and according to the frequently asked questions, if you are a newly elected official and have taken office in January, you are also required to file a personal financial disclosure statement. And it's whether you served on the voting district last year, termed as the tier level, not this year. So Skip was on sales tax last year. If he's not on sales tax this year, he still files that tier 2. If you have any more questions about that, give me a holler and I'll see what I can do to help. I can't help you fill it out, but I can try to answer my questions.
The other thing I want to let you know is Friday's the last day for the registrar applications to run in the paper. And actually, they're due at 5 o'clock Friday. So,
Say that again, Courtney.
I kind of messed that up.
No, I just didn't hear you.
5 o'clock Friday is the deadline for receiving applications for registrar. Okay, so I know a lot of you will be at the convention, so we'll probably deal with that next week. Talk about maybe calling a special meeting or whatever we have to do as far as getting somebody appointed. And the treasurer and administrative applications are due March the 9th.
Wow.
How many applicants have you got for registrar?
You know, our personnel director's handling that. I don't have a good, it's not very many right now. I would say 5 or less at this point.
Thanks.
TJ, see if we got any comments. No, sir. None.
Next, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, the Junior Auxiliary of Ruston will be hosting their 3rd annual Mardi Gras Festival. It will officially start at 8 a.m. at the Parish Park with a 5K run. And from there, we will have a jambalaya cook-off contest downtown Ruston. If you are if you're a nonprofit group, please see me. I have one spot left that you do not have to pay a registration fee to get into that cook-off. But there are awesome prizes, including a butane fish cooker, as well as some other nice prizes. And then we have a baby contest, photo contest. Downtown Merchants are doing a window decorating contest. And the Friends of Ruston Main Street was gracious enough when I called to pay for a big name band to come and play for us from Shreveport. So they will be on stage from 7 to 10 p.m. At 6 p.m., Kiddie Fun stops, Adult Fun starts. Divine Wines will be on site selling cocktails. We ask that you drink responsibly and have a driver. But this year's Mardi Gras Festival, we're trying to get Lincoln Parish on the map for people to come in to us to not only enjoy our festival, but spend tax dollars. And hopefully, eventually, the police juries will jump on board and do some things as well. So I'm inviting all of you to come out, enjoy the day with us. If you see me running around, you know, give me something to drink, because I'm gonna be crazy. Not alcohol, just like a Coke or something. Crazy. But hope to see you all on the 22nd.
I'd just like to mention that the ULM School of Dental Hygiene is partnering with the Health Hub until about the middle of April, doing free teeth cleanings there in the parking lot at the Health Hub. So anybody that you know that you know, us or anybody else who use those services, call us up and make an appointment for those are free of charge there all the way through. I think it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays through about April 20th.
We're adjourned.